We have a ideal candidate worksheet that we work through where we try to understand who is the ideal candidate. And really what we're thinking about there are like traits. The traits really align with the values just to make sure that they're a culture fit. They're things that you can't really change in someone. Maybe they change over time and people do evolve, but what are the traits of this person that we're really looking for? And this can be not just values, it can also be more personality related. Like someone who's more creative is a lot different than someone who's detail oriented. So just want to identify what are the traits that we're really looking for? What's this person going to, you know, look like to us? And then what are the skills? This can really be based on experience, certifications, whatever roles that they've had in the past, whatever it is. But what are the skills that they absolutely need to have? I'm a firm believer that you don't need to have the right person on a skills perspective necessarily. Obviously, it can help if they've been there, done that. But sometimes it's more valuable to have someone who's eager to learn, ambitious, and a quick learner than it is to have someone who's been there, done that, and then the wrong traits are in place, right? So
That's
knowing
the
what the
old
skill what is
saying,
it?
you hire for skill and fire for attitude, which I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody's heard, but hire them because they can do it, but also they get hired for skills because that's something that people can measure.
Yeah,
Hey, weld this
absolutely.
pipe, what's it look like? Okay, you can do that. Well, it's a lot harder to find the more significant traits of their behaviors. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Skill.
So finding their skills, and what I would put maybe the most stock in, probably after traits, honestly, is the outputs. What is if you're hiring an employee, but if you were hiring a subcontractor to do this role or to do this job, or if you were hiring an agency or a consultant, what are the outputs that you would expect? Like, what would you measure, and what do you truly want from them? Uh, I think that's probably the most important thing. And honestly, I think a lot of people will just say, "Oh, well, I need a foreman, or I need a secretary, or I need an office manager, or I need whatever it is." They think of it in forms of titles, and titles are actually really confusing because can titles can mean one thing at one company and something completely different at another company. And really what you need to be talking about are the outputs. And that's really going to set you apart whenever someone looks at a job description or they're in an interview and you say, "Hey, we're looking for exactly these outputs from you," right? Like, we want you to close out 8 projects per month, or just be very specific on the outputs
Mhm.
that you want. Um, it's going to stand out in the interview process, and people like that. What's the main reason why people leave jobs that we've learned?
Unclear expectations.
Unclear expectations. So you're setting those at the very beginning in the hiring process, which is hopefully going to set you up for better success. So that's what we kind of put down on the ideal candidate. Um, so once we have, our all the information about our company, the why work for us or for our company document, and then our ideal candidate worksheet completed, now we can really start digging into the job description, which is and in our view, it's different than the job posting. The job description is much more formal. It's much more thorough. It's going to be something that you point to when you're training the employee, when you're going through evaluations with the employee. You look back to the job description and say, are they doing this? Or are they not doing this? What are we measuring them on this? How is their improvement through this? Um, that's what you use the job description for. And so you have several different areas on your job description, but the most important one on the job description are going to be the responsibilities. And on the responsibilities, going through each and every area and giving clear, actionable, objective points that they should be responsible for. Um, and so having that job description is great. Once you have the job description, then you can start working on the job posting. And here's a little bit of well, I think it's important that you actually have more than one job posting for the same role. And not enough people do this. Just like I said earlier, how titles mean one thing at one company and one thing at another. They also mean, because of that, they mean a different thing to every person that sees your job posting, right? So when you post on an Indeed, you may be looking for, uh, a great project manager, right? And maybe there's like a really qualified foreman who could be the project manager, because at the company they were at, they were essentially a project manager, but their title was foreman, and they were on the job every day and right, all that stuff. But they're qualified to be your project manager. So you should be writing the ad to foreman as well, like senior foreman or whatever it is, right? Um, so with that, take your job description, and then when you write your job posting, you don't start with the responsibilities. You don't start with the compensation or anything like that. Maybe in the headline, if that's a really big benefit that you're paying out a
Or if
huge
you
salary for
have
this
to,
role.
because
Right, if
Indeed's
you
gonna
have
make
to.
you do that.
Sure. But when you write your job posting, you just like you wouldn't on your website, just put your price as the first thing on the on your website. You want to explain who you are as a company, the features of your service or your product, the benefits to your customers, the methodology you use to serve your customers, and then you can provide your price or whatever it is, right? Same thing with your job posting. You want to make sure that you're talking about here's why you should come work for us. Here's the ideal candidate that we're looking for. And you've already filled those out on your worksheets. Here's uh, core behaviors that that we expect and that you can see, right? If you want to come work for us, come be our project manager. Here are some items. Here's some of the things you'll be responsible for, and then you can put your outputs, which sets it really clear from the get-go, right? And then you can have some of the other benefits, compensation, stuff like that as well. So when you have all that, now your job posting really sticks out because you've got it extremely clear and appealing job posting. And then you can change the headlines. So what we do for people is we create 3 different headlines, meaning the first thing that someone sees when they're scrolling through Indeed, the first big headline they see when they're scrolling through Indeed, we make 3 different ones. And then we just have them post the job 3 different times, right? With the same job description. And then we have them do usually at least 2, but maybe more different job postings with different titles, even though it's the same role. We try to find similar titles that people might be searching for that they wouldn't find on the other one, right? And then now you've got a much bigger audience to get to, and with a great appealing headline, and then you follow through with what you have on your posting. So, yeah,
Yeah, pure marketing.
yeah, it's marketing for
Same
your
way you
for your
approach it.
job
Yeah,
postings.
yeah.
So, but it doesn't stop there, because I think the interview process is also really important. Uh, people people that are searching for a job are going through a gamut of things whenever uh, they're applying, and it's really tough. And they also really appreciate when people treat them well and they're organized during the interview process. When people are rescheduling interviews, when they're not getting back in a timely manner, when they don't have everything put together, it just gives off a bad first impression, right? And even being up, like maybe you aren't put together. Maybe you need someone that's going to come and help you get organized and get your processes in order and say, we need help. That's fine. As long as you set that expectation and you're clear and you say, hey, we're doing our best, but we really need someone to get us organized. They'll appreciate the honesty, and they can, that's part of having a good interview process, is being honest and sharing where you're at. That sets a good first impression.